William Shakespeare, in the prologue to Henry V, referred to the stage as an unworthy scaffold. After a decade of operation, the festival company needed a permanent home. This new theater would become a character itself. Everything the Utah Shakespeare Festival had learned about producing the Bard would go into the design of this theater. Although the college agreed with the need for a space like the one Adams proposed, they could not meet the financial needs of the project. Adams, like he had done 10 years earlier, turned to private funding sources. In 1977, the Adams Theater was complete. Many patrons soon fell in love with this new space and validated its existence with sold-out performances. Fred and Barbara Adams had built their dream. The Utah Shakespeare Festival had grown in ticket sales, budget, and popularity, and had become a draw for thousands of visitors each year. The summer productions in the new Adams Memorial Shakespearean Theater had sellout crowds nearly every night. However, on that yellow notepad years ago, Fred and Barbara had also envisioned a space for other plays, works from the world's greatest dramatists, or as Fred called them, Shakespeares of Other Lands. What was needed was another theater, an indoor stage, which of course fit right in with the dream. In order to expand, the festival needed more space. The city, realizing the impact an expanded festival site could have, offered a large tract of land south of town. But Fred felt a strong commitment to those businesses on Main Street that had supported him during the early years, and he refused to move. Instead, the festival and the college began to purchase land, houses, offices, and apartment buildings on the 2-block area east of the campus. Some buildings would be turned into workspaces, others would be used as housing for the acting company and production staff, and some would be raised for a new indoor theater. Festival and college representatives turned to the Utah State Legislature for assistance in funding the new theater, which they refused to do. They were advised to look into the mineral lease money that the mining companies operating in Iron County had been paying into for over 50 years. A large sum had been paid in, but very little taken out. University President Gerald R. Sherritt, Cedar City Mayor Robert Linford, and City Manager Joe Melling took upon themselves the task of convincing the Mineral Lease Board that a new theater for the festival was worthy of funding. The board agreed with their argument and awarded the festival most, but not all, of the construction costs. The family of Randall L. Jones came to the rescue. Jones had been an early booster of southern Utah. Using his artist's eye and masterful sales skills, Jones photographed the scenic and architectural wonders of Cedar City and the surrounding national parks and monuments, then traveled across the country promoting the area. The descendants of Jones provided the remainder of the needed funds, and the new theater would now be named the Randall L. Jones Theater. Construction began in earnest in 1987, and the theater opened on June 23, 1989, inaugurating the festival's 28th season. The theater would provide space for 769 patrons and feature velvet seats and gold leafing throughout. The final cost? $5.7 million. The 1989 season, the first using both the Randall Theater and the Adams Theater, featured 6 plays, the most the festival had ever produced in one season. In addition to Shakespeare, plays by Tennessee Williams, Moliere, and the first play commissioned by the Utah Shakespeare Festival, Nothing Like the Sun, were performed. Fred Adams and the other festival producers decided that in order to produce 6 plays, 3 in each theater, they would need 2 separate companies. They duplicated every position, one for the Adams Theater and one for the Randall Theater. This proved very expensive. Although the Randall Theater productions were well acted and beautifully designed, the audiences were small. The 1989 season ended with a large deficit. The shortfall proved very troubling for festival management, as they were painfully aware that the festival could not cover the costs of the season. Relief came from the college finance department. For years, they had been pulling some of the festival profits into a rainy day fund, The fund had more than enough money to cover the deficit, and the festival was saved. The Utah Shakespeare Festival did not repeat the mistakes of 1989 and began double casting roles for both the Randall and the Adams theaters. Festival patrons soon discovered the majesty and beauty of the new theater, and seats began to fill. The challenges and struggles of the 1980s, as well as the valuable lessons learned, would not only result in larger audiences, greater acclaim, and more revenue, but would lead to nothing other than theater's most sought-after prize.